Hi all, welcome to Life Rhythms, Tarot, Food, and Spirit. So I'm here today to do a video response to Fables Den, and it is hashtag 5 deep tarot questions. And I've been wanting to get to several VRs in the last couple of weeks, and just has not worked out. And I was actually going to make a whole video asking some of you guys who are so prolific with putting forward videos and doing video responses, and like, how do you have yourself organized to do that? I'm historically known as being a very organized person, very good with time management, but this integrating all of this has been somewhat of a challenge, and it's something that has become such a meaningful piece of my world right now that I guess it's a little frustrating for me at times that I'm not able to really gather together everything to make it happen more often. But anyway, on to the topic at hand. So the first question is, which tarot card describes yourself as a reader? A card that represents your approaches, worldviews, or style. So for me, a card that comes up most immediately, and a card that I've often referred to as somewhat of my familiar, is the High Priestess. And I'm using the Ashara Tarot for this. And this is a card that, for me, when I'm looking at decks, is an important card for me to be able to connect with. And the High Priestess, for all the reasons, she is the one who opens the gates, the inner gates, my own inner sight when I'm working with someone, and helps to facilitate or bring in the energy for the querent to also drink from that well of be invited into looking behind the veil. And that is a big piece of what my readings involve. It is not about the mundane so much, but usually people are working with me or attracted to working with me because they are knowing that perhaps a mundane pattern in their life, they've reached a point where they realize that perhaps it's not moving or is stuck or not going in the direction or path that they may be wishing, because they know already that something bigger there's a bigger picture reason, and they're ready to look. And so definitely the High Priestess, but the other piece that comes along with that is, and in the Ashara Tarot, she refers to the Strength card as lust. And I especially relate to this with the Leo, me being Leo sun, although that's complicated because my sun is in the 12th house, so that brings me in a way back to the High Priestess. But that, I think people feel a sense of groundedness and empowerment, and maybe the strength to move in the direction of those things that they need to look at, that they're being invited to look at, that they wouldn't normally be seeing or have reason to see unless they something bigger was speaking to them. So I'm simply there to hold the space, to let that piece come forward with the High Priestess energy, and then to support them, to ground that with a sense of strength and empowerment to move forward with it in whatever way comes up through the course of the reading itself. So then question 2, what is your favorite card to see when you're doing readings for another person or for a client? And so I have 3 cards here, and the first one that came to me right away is the 9 of Discs. And this is shown in many different ways, obviously throughout many different decks. But this card, the 9 of Discs, is so much about a sense of grounded, material sovereignty, self-sufficiency, your outer and both your outer but also your inner palace, this palace, are in a harmonic state. And I just love it when this card appears for people. Also in the Tarot of the Crone, she has it as all these houses, little like adobe houses, and that there's a sense of community, and that there's this has not been created by just the self, but it's created in communion with your life around you. So it's like something that you've manifested within yourself, but also within a community. So and that you're inviting other people into that. Other people are invited into that. So it's a card of generosity for me. The other card that I love to see for in a reading is the Ace of Wands. All the aces are wonderful, but the Ace of Wands, because it's like that creative spark, and that there's like going to be this force of energy that's going to propel you in a direction, even if it might not be a direction that you're like, oh, that might be a scary direction, whatever might be coming forward in the reading, but you're going to have that vibrant, vitality, energy behind you. And so I love the Ace of Wands to come forward for people. And then the last one is in the Tarot Tarot, it's called Hanging, or the Hanged One, the Hanged Man, the Hanged One. Because it's like the querent has now finally the opportunity to truly have a freedom from all of the material stuff that's built up. And now it's like, what is going to be shed and let go, and then what is left after that is then what will be refined into the refinement of the soul, or the refinement of your journey. It's a card of freedom. So I love this card when it appears in readings. So those would be the cards that I love to see for people. Why do you practice tarot? This has been a practice for me that has been primarily for the last 20 years a very personal practice. But as my work with people has grown and evolved over the 20 or so years that I've worked with clients through physical transformation with their physical body, through movement, through nourishment, and how all of that is transformed into self-nourishment, and all of the layers of what self-nourishment are about, self-love and acceptance, and the tools that I've used over the years have expanded and grown. And one of the reasons that this has become one of the primary tools for me now is because of my own personal life evolution. I was looking to have not a transcendence, but there was a movement anyway of me moving away from the more physical, material ways that I was working with people through movement and making food for them, and moving more into a direction of guidance. And then my own personal life circumstances actually just propelled me into the need for that complete change. And so then embracing coaching and wisdom work and goddess, feminine empowerment for others, for women mainly. And Tarot has been one of the main tools that I have that has come forward for that work, because of the archetypes it brings forward, because of the way it opens us into our deep and subconscious, widens the worldview, and because of the way we can contact and connect with the people that we're working with through different decks and different images. And so for all of those reasons and many more. So I'll leave that at that. The fourth question: what is the gift you want to give the world as a tarot reader? I think as a person, as a human whose life calling has been to guide people on their own life journey, as while I simultaneously am going through my own life journey and stumbling and falling and picking myself back up, and especially now, the gift, especially now, is the gift of humility and embracing what it really is to be human without the artifice that we are so feel so bound by in this world that we live in. All of the who are you, what are you, all of the egoic things that we as how we present ourselves, and it's so hard to be vulnerable and to be human. And as I'm learning that more and more, I think in my work previously, I worked with it as a concept, and I was doing it to the best of my ability, but now it's like, wow, now you're living and breathing and every day working with what it is to be raw and open and broken, and or what it feels like to be broken, and that that is the wholeness. So it's to help guide people, or to shine a light for them to know that all of it is a part of what it is to be human, and to hopefully bring a sense of more tenderness and vulnerability and humanity, this one person at a time, because that's the reach I have. That's the reach we all have. First with self, and then with whomever is coming before us. So, yeah. The fifth question. If you were given a chance to experience life all over again with a new major arcana as your primary narrative and worldview, which would that be? So, in this life, I am a 5, the Hierophant, and I am truly walking that path. I have always walked that path, and I think there have been many turns on the spiral where I've embraced it and embraced it more and more and more, and so that is my path, and I that is this lifetime for me. But for my next journey, I struggled a little with this one, and I think that the highbrow or the whatever in me wanted to choose another card, was looking at other cards. But the truth is, I'd like to be the Empress. There are many personal reasons why. The Empress. Do I ever get through one of these without a tear? I don't think so. Thank you, Fables Den, for putting this forward. Great questions. Thank you all for watching. Until we connect again.